If you're an Asian guy struggling with low confidence, look, man, I've been there myself. 6 years ago, I was lonely, depressed, and not very confident at all. I couldn't even get a date. And now I actually have my dream girlfriend. But on top of all of that, the most important part is that I feel good in my own skin and I feel confident. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 key areas that I use to level up my confidence and how you can apply them to your own life. So to level up your confidence, okay, as an Asian guy, there's 3 key components. First, there is, let's just call it working on yourself, okay? This will be things like hitting the gym, building some muscle, getting your fashion sorted, getting your grooming sorted, making some decent money, having some kind of job that you're at least somewhat into, right? Not something that you just like hate all day. Having a cool lifestyle, some hobbies, things that generally just make you like an attractive person, right? But this is working on yourself as a product, okay? But that's not the only piece, although some people will tell you that that's the only thing you need to do. Don't believe them, okay? There's also these 2 other components, okay? There's this thing that I'm gonna call outer game, okay? Outer game is how you interact with the world, okay? It's like your social skills, flirting, leadership, charisma. It's actual skills and tactics. This is where techniques come into play, and they are important. Don't listen to anybody who says you don't need like techniques. Techniques have their place, okay, in building your confidence, okay? And then there's this third last piece right here, which we're gonna call, okay, inner game. Inner game is how you basically interact with your internal world, okay? So this is you interacting with the external world. This is you interacting with your internal world. This is how you speak to yourself, okay? Your beliefs to yourself, your mental dialogue, right? The little voice in your head, if it's bringing you down, you have bad inner game. If it's supporting you and bringing you up, you have good inner game. So now that we understand what the 3 components are, I'm gonna tell you how they relate to each other, okay? And then at the end, I'm gonna give you juicy tips about how you can actually implement all of these and start seeing immediate results, okay? But first, you really, really, really need to know how they actually work together to improve your confidence, okay? So here's the first key misconception is that most gurus out there will tell you that you only need one of these, okay? There's plenty of dating coaches that will tell you that you only need outer game. You just need to approach 10,000 women and all your problems will be solved. There's, the meditation gurus who will say, hey, just go sit on a pillow for 10 years and tell yourself good positive thoughts in the mirror and all your problems will be solved. And then there's the good meaning friend or family member who says, hey, just work on yourself, focus on yourself. All the girls will come and all your problems will be solved. You'll be magically confident if you just work on one of these areas. And I don't know about you, but for me, that never worked out. I could never just focus on one of these areas and improve my confidence. And as a result, okay, get more girls or just have better social interactions, have a better social life overall. I needed to focus on all 3, and here's how I did it, okay? And here's how I recommend that you do it, okay? So basically, let's say a good place to start is your outer game, okay? This is, your social skills, basically. Social skills, right? Like talking with women and just people in general, okay? And this is a great place to start because it doesn't sort of keep you in your head. It's like you're going out there and actually doing something. And what happens is that as you do more of this, you're gonna start getting outer reinforcement, okay? And as you see here, this is a loop, okay? Because as you do more of outer game, you go out there, you talk to people, you meet strangers, you go to events, you approach some women, you start to get reinforcement from people that like, oh, like, I'm actually fun to hang out with. People like my jokes. People like talking to me, right? Whereas if you just sit in your room all day, like let's say you're working on your inner game, just sitting in your room, meditating on your pillow, you're never gonna get that outer reinforcement from people that, you're actually somebody likable, right? As long as you're doing some basic things right, basic vocal tonality, how to handshake somebody, how to make eye contact with somebody, how to smile. If you're doing the basic things, your brain is going to start realizing, oh my God, you know, I'm actually somewhat likable, attractive person. Okay, so that's going to actually feed into your inner game where you're going to start believing like, wow, I'm cool, I'm interesting, right? But then what you can also do is, as this is feeding into the inner game you can actually work on independently, okay, independently of outer game. You can do things like work on your beliefs. I'm gonna scoot on over here. Okay, oops, I spelled that totally horribly. You can work on your self-talk, okay? And if you want to go deeper with this, you can work on sort of your, let's just call them negative stories. This would be also what people commonly call like, traumas, right, from your childhood. Okay, so, what this kind of looks like is you realizing that, maybe you beat yourself up a lot. You say a lot of mean things to yourself, like, oh, you're not worthy, you'll never get the girl. Why do people always reject me? Why am I always alone? And the more you say these things to yourself, the worse you're going to feel about yourself. Okay, that's your self-talk, your beliefs. Negative stories would be, stories from your childhood. Maybe you were bullied at a time, and all of a sudden, you feel like you're not cool enough, or you feel like you're too short, or you feel like you're too Asian. All of that's going to feed into how you actually interact with people, right? So if you start improving this is going to feed into your outer game and make your interactions with people better. So you see how this is a loop. You see how this is a loop. Now, this is not the end of the story though. There's one more piece, this working on yourself, and it's this arrow that goes through the middle. So, Alex, how the hell does this relate to this loop thingy here? Well, okay. So, if you start working on this like I did, and you start working on your inner game like I did, you're going to start getting girls, you're going to start getting dates, you're going to start getting laid, and you're going to start, feeling better about yourself just in terms of social interactions in general. But a tricky thing that happens, and it happened with me and happens with my clients, is that at some point you can actually be getting a lot of dates, be getting a lot of girls, feeling great around people, but you're like, these aren't exactly the girls that I want. Like, I feel like I could get like the higher quality girls, like the hotter girls. Like, I feel like, or especially if I want a girlfriend, I want to level up the kind of girl that I can get, right? I may be able to get a lot of girls. And so here's the thing with working on yourself is basically synonymous with, this is your product. This is like what you're selling on like the dating marketplace, and you're at like a level, right? Okay. Some people call this SMV, sexual market value. Basically, in the dating market, where do you stack up relative to the girls that you actually want to attract? And let's say that the girl you want is up here and you are down here, okay? You could be operating this loop down here very well. You could be going out, meeting people, meeting girls, feeling good about yourself. You could be doing this loop down here, but you're only gonna attract girls of this level, okay, of this, attractiveness. But if you work on yourself and you start putting in work on the gym, your fashion, your money, your lifestyle, if you start leveling up these things, then all of a sudden your value as a product in the market goes up, and you're gonna get, similar amounts of girls with the similar types of interactions and beliefs about yourself, but all of a sudden you're gonna be operating up here, okay? And this is a completely personal choice of like kind of where you want to be on this market. I mean, down here we have the guy who works at McDonald's. Up here we have the fucking Leo DiCaprios of the world who have all of these stats maxed out, okay? I recommend you, get to a place where you have good social skills, you feel good about yourself inwardly, and then you can also move up this place to a place where you can attract the women and just people in general of the caliber that you want to have in your life. Okay, so that was a lot. All right, that's how these three relate with each other. How do we actually use this? How do we actually implement this to become more confident as an Asian guy? So let's cover that. Outer game, okay? Let's start with talking with women and people. I mean, because that's kind of the goal here, right? I mean, obviously, if you're watching this video, you probably want to feel more confident around people and you want to get more women. So a great place to start is with people in general, a very nice exercise that I recommend you do that I give to my clients. Just bantering with people in general and becoming what I call a social animal, okay? I like this phrase because it kind of gives me this feeling of like I'm an animal out there, right? And the way to do it is you start sort of just talking casually with the barista, Hey, you start with how's your day? Right? Or I like those earrings, right? You talk with your Uber driver. You just make conversation, make jokes, talk about the weather, talk about, anything, right? As opposed to being the guy who just picks up his coffee or goes in his Uber or, goes about his daily stuff without ever interacting with people, okay? This is the best way to do that. And to level that up, you can banter with these people, right? So let's say the barista is asking you, how's your day going? You could be like, yeah, it's going great, default, nice response that everybody usually gives. Or you could be like, nah, it's awful, right? Give a sort of a funny, playful answer, or one that I really like is, talking to your like waitress. They always ask you like, oh, how was the food? And people just be like, it was good, yeah, da da da. I'd be like, and she'd be like, how was your food? I'd be like, horrible. I want a refund. Or maybe I won't say it like that mean, but I'll give a little smirk and make it playful, like it was awful. Right? And then she'll look at me like all confused, kind of like shocked, and I'll just be like, nah, I'm just playing. It was good. Like, right? So it's something that kind of breaks the mood, right? So being a social animal is about being a person who's always interacting with the world. And if you can, okay, generate some laughter, man, this is really gonna level up your social interactions. If you can talk with everyone and make every single person laugh, that's really gonna level up your social interactions. So now let's talk about actually talking with women, okay? So I'm just gonna give you the sort of quick starter pack here. This is such an in-depth topic that I could talk for hours about, but something that you wanna start doing is start small, okay? Let's start with eye contact, okay? Making eye contact with women, for example, when you're walking down the street, just make eye contact with women as they pass you and smile. Give them a little smile, right? Eye contact plus a smile does wonders for opening up a social interaction. And once you're starting to do that comfortably, you can just start giving compliments, okay? Now, this could be a straight up cold approach where you see the girl at the bus stop, you tell her, hey, I think your hair just looks really wonderful today. I just wanted to let you know, right? And then you walk away, right? Or this, if that's too scary at this moment, you could do this with your barista, with your waitress, with the girl working at the clothing store, right? Just start giving compliments, okay? Something I also did when I was just way too scared to talk to girls, in the wild. I took a dance class. This way, you have girls in close proximity. You get used to, touching girls, like being in physical contact with them, and you can give them an easy compliment, like, "Hey, your makeup looks great today. Hey, this dress looks awesome on you." Right? You just break that barrier of like actually talking with a girl, an attractive girl in a close proximity. So now let's talk about inner game, okay? You've worked on your outer game, you're talking with women, you're talking with people, but we still want to reinforce how we inwardly feel about ourselves, okay? So the first big thing that I always tell Asians to do is stop looking, okay, for validation, okay? External validation. What this means is looking for the outer world to somehow tell you that you're good enough, okay? We Asians are very much trained for this because since we were young, we were told that we were good if we played the piano and we were good if we got all A's, but we were bad if we, got a B, and we're bad if we, want to do anything other than play the violin or the piano, right? So our whole self-worth often is built up on external people telling us that we're good. And we really need to reverse that and start telling ourselves that we're good. The second thing that I recommend is to start taking risks, okay? Asians are pretty risk averse, okay? Think about what your parents told you growing up. Get a safe job, steady income, right? Don't do anything that'll risk at all. They probably lived pretty steady lives. Okay, and nothing wrong with that. However, it's not really conducive to being very like confident in the world if you're always, inside looking for security and safety. That's what, that's what Asian culture is all about, is being steady and safe on the inside. And that's not going to build your confidence in the world, right? So start taking little risks, give compliments to women, ask a girl out, right? Do something, say something that might offend somebody a little bit, right? Go for what you want. If you take these little risks over time, it'll build up how you feel about yourself inside, that you can go out there, do something a little bit risky, and it'll be fine. Like, there's no bad consequences of it. All right, the last piece of inner game here is I want you to talk more kindly, okay, to yourself. All right, so this kind of goes back to the mental dialogue. And, when we were growing up, we were always sort of told, right, again, kind of with the validation thing, like we were told from external people that you're not good enough unless you do X, Y, Z, right? You'll never stack up. You'll never hit the standards, right? And we internalize that, and that becomes our own mental dialogue to ourselves, which is highly critical, okay? And so, for example, if you go like talk to a girl and she rejects you, most guys and most Asian guys for sure are gonna be like, wow, like I got rejected, I'll never get the girl, I'm never good enough, why did I even try, right? This kind of mental dialogue is not good for your inner game. You wanna be kind to yourself. You wanna be like, hey man, at least you gave it your best shot, right? Hey man, you did your best. Hey man, you learned something from this. Like, imagine you are your own best friend, like consoling yourself. How would you talk to yourself? This one took me years to really train to become my own best friend and to, pick myself up when I felt down. And that's really going to level up your inner game and make you feel good about yourself. Because the way you feel about yourself, the stories that you tell about yourself, the things you tell yourself are going to reflect themselves in when you talk to people and women, okay? This feeds directly into how your social interactions come across to people. So let's round this out with how do you actually work on yourself. Let's say your outer game is pretty good now, you're talking to people, your inner game is pretty good, you're telling yourself more positive stories, better self-talk, and you just want to level up yourself as a man so you can, attract better girls, attract better caliber people, right? You can't get away from this part, okay? You're gonna need to work on your gym, fashion, money, and lifestyle at some point. Let's just give some basic tips here. In terms of the gym, you just want to build some muscle, right? You probably want to be like below 15% body fat, okay? And you want to have like a Dorito shaped chest and waist, arms and waist, right? If you can get your back and shoulders wide and your waist narrow, that is a generally aesthetic, attractive physique. Not like the craziest, hardest thing to do in the world, but that's what to aim for generally. You don't need to be like, the most shredded guy in the world, but if you have something in that general area, it's gonna help you a lot, okay? Fashion, I could talk for hours about this, but the place I recommend you start is Pinterest, okay? And just start searching for men's fashion, Asian men's fashion. Just start wearing stuff that, looks good on you, fits, and matches. Okay, I'm not gonna go too far into that, but that's fashion. Money, okay, it's not that important that you make like a ton of money or that you're like a multimillionaire. What's really most important is that you have some sort of passion or purpose when it comes to money, okay? And it doesn't need to be like, this is my life's work, this is something I'm so passionate about. But it also can't be like, I'm just doing this for a living. Like, I hate being a doctor, but I'm just doing it because my parents told me to, right? That is gonna feed into your interactions when people, talk with you. That energy is gonna come into here. You're gonna hate yourself because of the thing you're doing for money. So try to find something that you at least like, that you feel pretty good about. It doesn't have to be like perfect, but if it's just, again, just for the money, it's gonna sink the other areas of your life. And then when it comes to lifestyle, basic stuff, travel, hobbies, friends, right? If you can have some of these things in your life, and not just basically be sitting at home in your basement playing video games, then you have a lifestyle that, women would want to join you on, right? Think about what kind of lifestyle would a girl want to enter in on? Would she want to enter a life where I'm only staying home all day, or a life where I'm out there doing fun stuff, hanging out with cool people? Okay, as you level up this, boom, you're gonna go up this ladder and be able to attract better quality girls. But overall, if you do all of this, inner game, outer game, working on yourself, all three of them are going to reinforce your confidence as an Asian guy and just keep leveling you up, and up. So that's how you build your confidence up as an Asian guy. Now, if you also want to know specifically how to get a girlfriend as an Asian guy, I made a video breaking down the step-by-step process of that as well. So go ahead and check out the link here, and I'll see you in the next video.